This must be the most odd combination of clothes I could possibly have picked for doing a football video. An Overwatch hat and a Star Wars hoodie. Jesus. The Steelers, which was last night my time, just absolutely ate the Panthers alive. Jesus Christ. Ben Roethlisberger threw 5 touchdowns for 328 yards, and fantasy points we are looking at. I have my fantasy app here, so this is what I'm going to be looking at most of the time when I'm looking away from the camera. Fantasy points wise, he got, I think, 30... Oh my god, I'm too blind for this. 35.8. He was left on the bench in the league I'm in, but let's not talk about that. It wasn't me, by the way. Let's just get that out of the way. I actually had Antonio Brown against me in my matchup this week, so it didn't end too badly considering Ben threw 5 touchdowns. Usually he'd throw 90% of his throws to Antonio Brown, but he's like spreading it out a bit more nowadays, so it's not all going to Antonio Brown. So it could have been worse for me. Antonio Brown only ended with 15.6 points, so it's not that bad. The other player that my opponent had this week was Graham Gano, who didn't really do much. He got 3 points, so it's an okay start. But going by what I've seen from my team through the first 9 weeks of fantasy, it doesn't even matter what the other team does. It just simply matters on whether my team does good or not. Because my games are never really close. It's either my team does really good and I win, or my team does absolute dog shit. So any other team that plays against me can just play solid and probably win. What's my record for this season, just to get it out of the way? Because I forget this is my first time actually doing a video on this kind of thing, so I should kind of introduce where I'm at in my league and all that stuff. Standings, I am last in the league. I just want to throw my record, by the way. 3-6, so I have 3 wins, 6 losses. It's not great. It's really, really frustrating season for me so far. I played a guy last week who had 3... I think he had like 2 bye players and an injured player on his team or something like that. And I still managed to lose because I had 4 injured players and 4 players on a bye week last week. And it was an absolute disaster. I scored... Let's have a look. Where am I at? I scored 53 points last week in total. For those of you who know about fantasy, you know that is absolute shit. And the guy against me actually managed to get 81 points even though he was 3 players down. I had a full team on. Still only managed 53 points. I had to pick up some... I had to pick up 3-4 players off the waiver out of free agency, and they were just shit. Useless, all of them. I had the Rams defense playing, which I really, really should have benched. I just, for some reason, had the idea in my head that they were going to do okay against the Saints and maybe upset the Saints, considering they've been so good all season. But no, the Saints rolled. They were rolled all over them, and the Rams defense finished with -5 points for me. So yeah, anyway, moving away from last week's disgusting performance. My phone is doing all sorts of bad things. Flash, I will kill you dead, I swear to God. Stop snoring. I actually had to drop Mitch Trubisky last week to pick up someone as an emergency pickup to fill in for all my injured or bye week players. But I luckily managed to get him back again for this week. And he is playing a Detroit team that is not looking too hot at the moment, so I'm looking forward to hopefully having lots of points from Trubisky. I have Marlon Mack, who I picked up just as he came back, and I've been loving life with him since. So hopefully I have a solid performance out of him. Trubisky, I have Saquon Barkley as well, who was my first pick in the draft, who's been spicy all season. He's the only thing that's been spicy about the Giants all season, but you know. We'll leave the whole Giants topic for another video. For those of you who don't know, I am a Giants fan, unfortunately. We have Golden Tate, who's just been traded to Philadelphia, who hopefully is going to do well for me. We've yet to see how he fits in the Philly offense, but they don't really have much going receiver-wise. Alshon Jeffrey has been their main wide receiver this season. He's done okay. He hasn't done great, but like when you're basically the only like standout wide receiver on the team, everyone's going to try, all the corners in the league are going to try and shut you down, so you can't really do it on your own. Hopefully with Golden Tate there, they can even out the offense a little bit and maybe get many points for Golden Tate. Because, you know, I'm glad it did like screw me over last week because I had another player on a bye week because Golden Tate went there. Because Philly were on a bye week last week, but hopefully from here on, Golden Tate will get me plenty of points. I'm glad he's gone from Detroit because Detroit's offensive performance last week was absolutely disgraceful. I don't actually know how many times Matt Stafford got sacked, but I'm pretty sure it was in around the 10 mark. So, yeah, they don't have an offensive line basically. I have Tyler Boyd, who could be doing bits for me now as well because AJ Green has gone down. I don't know if it's for the season or just a few weeks, but AJ Green is out, who's their main receiver. So now Tyler Boyd could possibly be their main receiver. So fingers crossed on that one. Gronk has been the most frustrating thing for me all season. Gronkowski for the Patriots. He's either injured. Well, he actually has an injury designation pretty much every week, and is a game time decision pretty much every week. Last week, I don't think he played, so I had Austin Hooper instead, who's my backup tight end. I have him ready again this week because they both luckily play at 6 o'clock on Sunday this week. So if Gronk is injured, I can just swap him out and it's fine. This week, I don't have really any main injury concerns apart from Gronk, which is refreshing compared to what I had to deal with last week. 4 injuries and 4 bye-week players. My gut. That was not fun. I have Valdez-Scantling, who was actually someone I picked up last week off the free agency, but then actually did good last week. So I've kept him in on my flex position this week, and I'm kind of just praying that he does well. Geronimo Allison went down injured, so he gets more snaps. I'm going to have to actually look into that because I'm not sure if Allison's still injured. Let's have a look. Oh, Geronimo Allison's set to miss 6 weeks. Okay, well, there you go. Valdez-Scantling in for me. He got 15 points last week, I think. Somewhere around that. No, he got 10 points last week. He got 101 yards receiving. That was what he did. I knew he did something decent. And the yards, he did only get 3 receptions though, so that's kind of worrying. The receptions he got were big play receptions. But obviously it's better if you get volume. But he's not a main receiver. He's probably behind Randall Cobb and Davante Adams. So the more I think about it, the more I kind of want to bench him. But I don't really have anything receiver-wise I can put on for him. I have David Moore on my bench for the Seahawks, who dropped 2 passes in the end zone last week. Pissed me off so hard. So I've kind of lost a bit of trust in him now. Every time he's done good, he's been on my bench. I've just had him sitting on my bench, ready to come in. Because I know he's doing good for the Seahawks, but it seems he's kind of reliant on whether he gets a touchdown for whether he has a good week or not. Because he doesn't really add up too many yards. His biggest yardage this year was 97 and only on 4 receptions and a touchdown, which got him 15 points. I mean, if he was doing that every week, I wouldn't be complaining. But last week then, he only got 2 receptions for 16 yards and that was it. No touchdowns because he dropped the 2 passes in the end zone. So that's 1 point. Another reason for me doing so bad last week. I have the Rams defense again, who are playing the Seahawks. I want to keep the Rams defense on all the time just because it's the Rams defense. They're a disgusting defense. It's just when they play good offenses, it seems that they kind of just get into shootouts with them, and the defense just kind of crumbles. Like what happened with the Saints, and it's happened a couple of times this season. I'll have a look, because I remember it happening a couple of times, because I've had the Rams defense all season, and it's frustrating. Oh, the Seahawks actually was a team they got 0 points against, because the Seahawks got 31 against them. That's a bit awkward, isn't it? Denver, they got into a bit of a shootout with, which is... God, now that I look at this, it's not looking so good, is it? They played San Fran and they got 24 points, but like, it's San Fran. You can't really go off that. They got scorched by Minnesota as well, and only got 2 points that week. I don't even know anymore. I'm gonna risk it just because it's the Rams defense. That's all I'm saying. And then for my kicker, I have Greg Zuerlein. So a Rams offense thing, which you can never really go wrong with. So yeah, he basically never moves out of my team. On the bench, I have Stephon Diggs on a bye. I have Deshaun Watson on a bye. I have Chris Carson, who's questionable. I think he re-injured a muscle last week when he played and went off early, so keeping him on the bench because I don't think he's going to play. Plus, I have Saquon Barkley and Marlon Mack, so you know, can't really drop either of those. Austin Hooper ready to come in if Gronk gets injured. David Moore dropping shit in the end zone, so he stays there. Jalen Richard, I had hope for him when Marshawn Lynch went down because he got a good few points when Marshawn Lynch and Doug Martin were there, and he's the third running back, but he's a receiving running back. So he should be getting more touches now, but it's the Oakland offense, and they are just bad. Just straight up bad. And then I have Mike Davis, who is the backup running back for Seattle. I'm not even too sure why I've picked him up. Maybe if Carson is out this week and I feel bad about starting Valdez-Scantling, maybe then I'll put him in the flex. But honestly, I don't even know why I've really picked up Mike Davis. He did good last week, to be fair, when he did come in for Chris Carson, so maybe that was my thought. Yeah, he got like 62 rushing yards and 40 receiving yards. No touchdowns though, so yeah, we'll have to see closer to the time how that goes, because it's a Friday now and the games aren't until a Sunday, so I'll need to see injury designations and all this stuff. Going into the fantasy cast to see what the other guy's team is, he has Carson Wentz, Gio Bernard, David Johnson, Michael Thomas. Oh my god, he has Michael Thomas, kill me. Zach Ertz, which is a big oof. Mike Evans, who didn't really get anything last week, could be looking to bounce back this week. This could go horribly wrong for me looking at his team. He has the Tennessee defense against New England. That's a questionable one. That's a very questionable one. But yeah, that's pretty much my situation for my matchup this week in fantasy football. I'm not sure what else I even want to get into in terms of fantasy football. I'll get into games and reactions to games in a different video that isn't fantasy. This is just a fantasy based video that I want to do every week. I'll also be doing a just general NFL video maybe on Wednesdays, because the Tuesday night game, or Monday night game even, so maybe on Tuesdays that video would come out. We'll see. We'll work that shit out. If there's anything else you think I should have gotten into in this fantasy video with the team, if you are into fantasy, let me know what else you'd like to hear, what other kind of stuff you want to know about. If there's anything else I should be discussing. I'm very, very new to this kind of video and doing stuff on like sports and fantasy and all that stuff. I am very into it, I've just never like made content on it, so kind of need a helping hand. That's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. There'll be another one of these maybe Wednesday, Thursday kind of thing after the fantasy is done, and then we're gearing into the next week so I can make fantasy or free agent pickups and all that. I'm just going to ramble now, so I'm going to stop. If there's any suggestions you guys have, leave them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, and I will see you guys next time.